This is an SABC News presentation.
Good morning and welcome to this Friday morning's view from the House. I'm Kokelitanda. We are coming to you live from the SABC Parliamentary Studio in Cape Town. It's the last day of a busy parliamentary week, and in today's program we take stock of the past week's debates in the two houses of parliament. We focus on President Jacob Zuma's presentation of his budget in the National Assembly, and we recap on the NCOP debate on Parliament's budget vote in that house. But June is a youth month, and it's therefore fitting that we focus on youth issues on the first day of June. The first week of this month has also been dedicated to protection of children. The National Council of Provinces, in partnership with the United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, is currently hosting a two-day seminar to focus on youth issues. The theme of this seminar, which began yesterday, is investing in children. But to tell us more about the seminar and the envisaged outcomes, we are now joined in the studio by the Deputy Chairperson of the NCOP, Ms. Thandi Memela. Good morning, ma'am, and welcome.
Good morning, and good morning to the viewers.
Deputy Chair, before we come to the deliberations of yesterday's expectations for today, tell us about the run-up to the seminar. How did it all come together?
Well, it wasn't the first time that we got involved as NCOP in addressing the plight of children. I think you are aware that at some stage we ventured into the Eastern Cape, trying to address the plight of young girls who were always abducted by older men. Well, in our own language, we then referred it to ukutwala. We worked closely with the legislature, the Women's League, the police, and also the traditional leaders.
But now, what is UNICEF's role in all this?
UNICEF is a body that has always had the plight of children universally, trying to eradicate the imbalances that we experience on daily lives across the universe. So it's not as if they are just watchdogs for us. We are in partnership with them as NCOP in dealing with the children's rights.
Mrs. Memela, the seminar started yesterday. What topics are you covering in your efforts to promote investing in children?
Well, it's children and maternal health, role of NGO sector and other partners. How do we deal with children at risk, children and law, and child justice. You are aware that right now there are these perpetrators who couldn't even be sentenced. So which then means at some stage we have to sit as Parliament, both houses, the NA and the NCOP, to look at the laws we've passed, and if need be, amendments might be then done, especially the justice section has to analyze clearly and adjust certain laws.
What about child-headed households? Did you give any attention to them?
That's the second leg of this program. But we are aware, and we've been talking about it, but right now we haven't been very, hands-on in it, because you must remember the health department is also dealing with that. We don't want to crowd the departments,
Yeah, but who is involved in these workshops? Were children also involved and to air their voices?
Definitely. I had workshops with the various schools in Cape Town, and we had actually also involved the legislatures in the 9 provinces to try and talk to the children and collect the material. And we then will be compiling a booklet at the end of it.
But Mrs. Memela, whenever we talk about the plight of children, great emphasis is always placed on their rights, and with no mention about responsibilities that goes with those rights. Are you dealing with that in this seminar?
Yes. And in my opening remarks, I even stressed the role that parents have to actually ensure they play. We have even gone further and said the child belongs to the community. That is how we were brought up. Every parent has to take interest in each and every child that is in that vicinity. But today, when people talk of children's rights, at some stage I think they're overplaying things. We have lost our grip in bringing up our children in the proper way. Yes, there's peer group pressure, there's use of drugs, you name them. But at the same time, especially with us blacks, we have to actually tighten our grip. And let us not be hoodwinked. There's a lot of pornography going on. Are we monitoring what is happening within our four walls? Which is another concern, and we actually debated that yesterday.
We will continue in a moment, Ms. Memela. A recent UN Children's Fund report offered some detailed insight into unnecessary deaths and devastating living conditions of South Africa's children. The report demanded that government took immediate action. With 11.5 million of the country's 19 million children living in poverty and 7 million living in 20% of the poorest households, the report showed poor children were 17 times more likely to experience hunger and 3 times less likely to complete school than children from wealthier backgrounds. The speaker said the report showed just how far South Africa still needed to travel. The homes of 1.4 million children relied on streams for drinking water, 1.5 million children lived in houses with no flushing toilets, and 1.7 million lived in shacks. Now, to continue with our discussion, Ms. Memela, is this just how bad the situation is in our country?
You are a South African.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't deny that we still have a backlog when it comes to development, but I think things have been taken out of proportion. South Africa is not that bad. There are other countries that are worse than us, but I'm not going to mention them. That is why we even brought it up with UNICEF, that the sweeping statement is rather very derogatory. The different departments are doing their best, but remember where we come from. And it's going to take us quite a lot of time to actually improve the lives of our people to the level that we really want. And people must remember, recently, the president of the country has embarked on a program of infrastructure. We have all to hold hands and ensure that if we follow the procedures properly and we do quite a lot of research to come up with other measures that are going to be helpful in improving the lives of our people, definitely we will shorten the period.
Finally and briefly, Ms. Memela, at the end of today's seminar, what would you like to see as outcome or outcomes?
I would like people to really seriously say we're going to be moving together, we're holding hands, and try and fight all this wrath that is meted out to our children. If we can't look after our children, then we have no future.
Mrs. Thandi Memela is the Deputy Chair of the National Council of Provinces. Ma'am, thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you very much.
After the break, we bring you extracts from President Jacob Zuma's introduction of the debate on the presidency's budget vote in the National Assembly. Stay with us.
It's my home. Washing for dinner, washing for lunch, washing a little, then washing much. Washing not playing, just scraping grime. Washing dishes and pots, just wasting time. And once you stop washing that last dish, you look back and see all you've missed. You deserve better. With a dishwasher and the power of finish, you'll have time